are you? I hope that you're well. Welcome to the broadcast. I am your favorite mermaid mystic. Today's video is going to be, I'm sort of going old school in a sense, because what I would like to talk about is a few of the successful things that I have accomplished through using a few of Abraham Hicks' particular techniques that she has spoken of. When I first learned of law of attraction, I would attend Abraham Hicks workshops. So I remember one particular one, and I've listened to probably 40,000 hours of her. Very, very successful is, first of all, understanding what works for you best, because everyone's an artist in their own way, right? And so we also understand certain techniques, whether that's law of assumption techniques or law of attraction techniques. And I think as a basic law, and however we get to that depends upon the compass that leads us to our true north, if we want to speak in mermaidology terms. One of them that I found very, very successful for my SP is the 17-second momentum. Now I'm going to call this I have created myself, and the things that I have done. I have taken an idea, which is, if you think about the book that Austin Kleon wrote, which is called Steal Like an Artist. If you are an artist or you're a writer or whatever, you might want to pick that book up. He's got several books and they're all New York Times bestsellers, and they're very, very wonderful. But in there, he talks about how a real artist steals, a fake artist copies. And so what you do is you find something lovely that you love about someone, and then you expand on it. And this is what I've done with Abraham Hicks' technique of the 17-second, which I call the art of appreciation. And this is how I manifested Jeffrey. This is another way of another thing that I did. And if I'm being brutally honest and not gatekeeping, which I will not do, I want you to know all these techniques, because one might not work for you as well. Some people love scripting, some people love the art of appreciation, some people love the focus wheel, which I have dubbed the compass. That I want to talk to you about is the art of appreciation. And the reason that I say that this technique is so wonderful is because it's really, really easy and it's really, really fun to do. Now, there would be days that if you go back, I've had a channel I took a hiatus when Sawyer died. That was sort of like my hermit mode, I kind of went into hermit mode when he passed. But one of the things that I would do back in the day when I first started my channel is that I would, like you're scripting, how like you go on an imaginative story in your mind and you create all of these emphasis on things. Like, for example, and I think I've talked to y'all about this a bit at times, here and there, and it is when you're thinking about something fun. For example, and I'm going to use Jeffrey Sean as my example, I would take walks, or I would be walking my dog, or I would go down to the pond or the lake and watch the geese or whatever it was, okay? And I would use the art of appreciation, which means that I would absolutely think of all the lovely things. Like I was in a dream state. I would just start talking out to the universe. You know how Neville Goddard always talked about how everyone self-talks. We all self-talk because we're literally talking to ourselves through to source, which is an all-encompassing one. For example, when I didn't know who my SP was, I just knew that I wanted to manifest my twin flame. And like I said, I was in a 25-year marriage and I had wanted to be out of it. And I did not know that I was going to find my SP at that particular time. But it made me feel good when I would think about this imaginary person. It made me feel happy inside. So I would always focus on all of the things that I was appreciative of my said SP or twin flame. So for example, I knew, because of all the resistance and all of the negativity that had happened in my life and being in a marriage, I knew what I didn't want. This is the beautiful thing that I want you to understand, is that it's so beautiful. Use to your advantage the things that have negatively impacted your life, because what it does is it shows you, I know I don't want that. You know what I mean? So for example, I knew that in my marriage at that current time, that I did not want someone that never gave me compliments, because I want a compliment. And I wanted to be told that I was adored and that I was beautiful and that I looked precious and I was cute and gorgeous and all of that, because I had never gotten that. I knew that I wanted someone that was like, I want them to absolutely say consistently and all of the time how much I adore you. That was one of my big things that I always spoke about. I was like, I want him to say he adores me, he adores me, he adores me. And I want him to open the door for me. I want him to believe in chivalry. And I want him to, you know, take the rubbish bin out. I don't want to have to take the rubbish bin out. I want him to bring me flowers. I want him to be a romantic, and I want him to want to garden with me. I want him to like have a set of clippers. I literally said all of these things and I manifested it. I said, you know what? I really want my twin flame or my SP. I want him to be so romantic that he might pull over on the side of the road, clip me some flowers, or a rose if he sees a rose, or if he goes into the market, I want him to bring me flowers home, because I wanted flowers all of the time, like just sitting in the bathroom, at the bedroom, at the kitchen window, on the dining room table. I wanted flowers, fresh flowers, all of the time in the cottage, because that was one of my dreams that I've always wanted. And I was like, you know, I really want my twin flame or my SP to do this. And so all you do is, what happens is the 17-second, and I'll leave a quote under this description box, because I would love for y'all to use this as a way. And I was thinking even about painting something up with this particular thing, talking about how impactful and how amazingly that the 17-second momentum and how it increases the energy of manifestation, just how rapidly you can manifest if you use this. Because basically what you're doing is you're talking so much about how much you love everything about this particular thing. Or say, for example, you're trying to manifest a house or a job. You go into detail about, pretend that you have already accomplished that job. Like, I have the best workmates. I have such a wonderful boss. My boss absolutely adores me. They think that I am the cat's meow. Think that I do such splendid work. I have the best schedule. I never work on weekends. I only work till 4. I do like hardly any work. I'm a nomad. I'm a YouTuber. And I can work in England if I want to go on there for holiday for 2 weeks. That's what I'm going to do. Completely get to lay out in the sun and use my Mac all the time and just blog. I get to take pictures for my employment. Like, whatever it is, and all of you do, you feel that? I already felt like I'm a nomad and I work as a YouTuber. And what it does is it increases the momentum. You manifest massively fast. Now, I'm going to give you another example of how fast this worked for me. And this is a beautiful success story. This was many of them, but this is one that comes out to play that was something that turned around in like a hot second. Now, Jeffrey, Sean, and I, if you don't know, we lived in Tampa. I said, I want to move back near One Horse Village, you know, where I grew up. To live near the water, like the seaside, because that was always my dream. I did not like living anywhere that was not close to, like, I could pop in the chariot and get to the water, you know. But at the time when I met Jeffrey Sean, I didn't know where, obviously I had no clue. But I ended up, when we got married, I moved into his little Staffordshire cottage. So when it came time and Sawyer passed, and Jeffrey lost his job and had to be in hospital and almost died. Like all these things happened at one time and within months apart, right? So he was unemployed, so we had to sell the house, we had to move, you know. So many bits to that story. But one of them was, okay, we're going to sell the house. So we put the house up for sale. I got the ticket, like I manifested finding the realtor, and it literally was a little index card that came in my post box. So I called the number. We developed a wonderful little friendship as a realtor and seller. What happened was we were getting loads of people that were wanting to purchase our home, but there was many things that were not done to the house. Like Jeffrey Sean had not upgraded the home. It was built in the 70s, but it was in a perfect neighborhood. And so the houses, if they were updated, were going for ridiculous amounts. I mean, absolutely wonderful amounts. It was right off the interstate, right near everything. Like across the street was Avalon, which is where all of the celebrities, the Bucks players, the people that own the Bucks, and Jeffrey did landscaping for all of these high society celebrities and things. Anyway, so it was in a beautiful neighborhood. Is what that sounded very braggadocious, but I was bigging myself up. But the point is that it was in a very, very prominent, wonderful neighborhood. So they were going for astronomical amounts, even although they were smaller homes and they were old, but they were in a good area. But he had not upgraded his home since he had purchased it in the 90s. What happened was we were getting all of these things. So there were so many things that were wrong, like wrong in the sense that like they had not been updated. You know what I'm saying? Like I had pulled all the carpets out of the house, but never had enough to put wood floors in. So they were just basic concrete. The other thing was we did not have all the same windows. I had done loads of things, like painting and taking wallpaper out and all of that. But like the kitchen had not been renovated and only one bathroom had been renovated and the other bathroom was completely gutted. It was literally gutted because I was working on it. But this came at a time like we just did not have time to put any money or anything into the home. So we had to sell it as is, okay? Well, the realtor kept telling me, oh, you're never going to get anyone no one will be able to have an FHA loan because no one, there's too many requirements for it to pass inspection. So you might as well just count that out. And I said to her, do you not believe in like anything is possible? And she was like, yeah, I guess I do. I'm a religious person, so I believe that anything is possible. But I really could tell that she did not really actually believe that. And so we were getting all of these offers, but they were really, really low ball offers. And we did not want to give it away. Like we needed to be able to pay the mortgage off. And we also needed to be able to have a little bit of money so that we could live on until we found a new place to live and all of that sort of thing, right? Well, what happened was 2 weeks go by and we're getting like every day I've got to have open house, because we've had loads of people coming in and out. And a lot of them were investors and things like that. Well, we had 2 people that ended up, it fell through. So I thought, okay, I need to go back to square one because I'm going to do what I did for my last house and I sold it in 2 days. Abraham talks about in one of the workshops that I went to, okay, so a man got in the chair, in the hot seat is what they call it, and said, what do you have a question about? And they were like, okay, I really want to sell my home. I really, really want to sell my home. It's been on the market for way too long. Like we cannot sell this thing. We can't unload it. It's just ridiculous, And Abraham basically said to him, well, how do you feel about the home? And the guy in the hot seat said, oh, well, we just want to sell it. We outgrew it. Our kids are grown and they've gone on to do their own things. They're in college. It's too much of an upkeep. We haven't even finished the basement. It's got too much work to do. Like we're just over it. We want to just unload it and move. We don't want to live there anymore. We don't love it anymore. We're just over this house. And it's going to need a new roof and blah, 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 whatever. And Abraham's like, well, who would want to purchase your home when you're talking like that about the home? Like that's the energy that you're projecting onward and no one's going to want to buy your home. You don't even like your home. So you need to go back to square one and you need to talk. Okay, so then she asked him, okay, how do you feel about your house when you first purchased it? And he was like, oh, we would spend weekends and we would go to the gardening shop and we would get all as a little family, we would make planter boxes and we would be so excited about developing the landscaping, and we were going to get a swing set for the children. And they had all their little fun friends in their neighborhood, and it was so wonderful. We loved it so much. And so basically Abraham was saying, okay, so notice if you have that energy, how much someone is going to want to come into that house. And anyway, so they sent a letter to Abraham later saying, like a month later, that they had sold that house within like a week or two. And so I remembered that workshop and I thought, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because what I've been thinking is, my son died, I want to unload this house. My husband almost died. My husband is unemployed, and we can't finish doing all of these wonderful things that we had high hopes for doing for this cottage, and I just want to be done with it. I'm over it. I'm over this house. I don't like it. I'm just over it. I put too much work into it, and it's not my forever home, and I don't care. That's exactly how I felt about that house. And so I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do what I should have done when I first married Jeffrey. And I moved into the house. I had high hopes, high expectations. I was so excited every day. I'm like, you know what? I really want to. This is the 17-second momentum. Oh, I really want. Let me tell you what happened. We were getting all these offers and we were like saying no, that was too low ball, blah, 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 whatever, right? I went back to drawing board and I said, I want to sell this house immediately. Because you have to tell exactly, Abraham, what you want, a source, God, whatever, spirit. Okay, I want to sell this house rapidly. Other stipulations were, I want to be able to have enough money that it's a good, to pocket a good amount of money. I would love for someone to be like young married, and maybe they have one child and they're expecting another child, and they're going to want to put a swing set in the backyard, and it's going to be their forever home, at least like for 10 years or something, to have like picnics and play in the backyard, and they're going to be so excited about it. That's what I started saying. Like, I would sit in my back patio with the chickens and everything and my bunny rabbits and stuff, and I would say, oh, they're going to love the house so much, the cottage, and they're going to think it's wonderful and blah, blah, blah. It's like on a Wednesday. Now, Thursday and Friday, I had open house appointments. I didn't think anything else about it. We were just, oh, we're not going to take this offer. Oh, that one fell through. So this puts us around, okay, so that was on a Wednesday. So Thursday, sorry about that, that was a kitten. Thursday, the realtor calls and says, you've got 2 showings on Friday. You've got one at like 11, and then you've got another one at 1. And I said, okay, great, wonderful. I had the house all ready, it smelled lovely and all of that. I wake up on the Friday, the person comes, didn't think anything about it. So then about noon, I'm waiting, or the 1 o'clock is going to show up. My realtor calls and says, oh, we've had a cancellation on the 1 o'clock. And I said, oh, that's okay. That's kind of a relief anyway, because I've been doing showings and showings and showings, and I'm getting very, very tired, You've got to keep the house tidy and the cottage clean and all of that. And so I didn't think anything about it. And she calls me back about 20 minutes later, and she says, you know what? That 1 o'clock canceled, but I got a 3 o'clock because they're getting off of work. Would you be willing to have them meet me over there at the 3 o'clock? Just for a quick pop in. And I said, oh yes, of course. And what happened was, it was the people that ended up purchasing the house. It was a young couple. She was literally, my darlings, I'm not kidding you, she was literally pregnant, like 7 months pregnant. She had a little girl, and they brought the little girl, and I'm not kidding you. Now, they had an FHA loan. So remember what I told you, this is key in This is why circumstances do not matter, loves. Dad goes out on the back terrace and says, oh, we love this. Oh, could you imagine? And they're talking all about having a swing set. Oh, darling, we'll have a tea party out there. And then they see Mr. Sir Oliver Twisty Topsy, my rabbit, because his rabbit hutch was the rabbit hutch that I have in here. It's a little shift roby thing that my dad turned into a rabbit hutch. So it looks like an old antique pie safe, because that's what it was. And they went crazy about the bunny rabbits. But they said, you know what, we got FHA loan. But I flip homes. So I know how to get around an FHA loan. I know all of the criteria, and I would be willing, because I would love to have this for our forever home, but I would be willing to do all of the necessary things to make it pass code so that the inspection would be passed. It happened, and darlings, I kid you not, our house was sold within 48 hours. 48 hours. And to make even this more interesting, one of the stipulations was, the big one was, that for an FHA loan inspection to pass, you've got to have flooring, whether it's carpet or whatever. You can't have just bare concrete. So that presented a dilemma. Because what are you going to do? There was no way. It was as is. This is what we said. It's an as is home. So they volunteered to literally paint the entire house, the flooring, so that it would pass code. So what we did was asked my mom and dad if we could come and stay the night, like leave that early morning, stay the night for the flooring to dry at my parents' house. And then the next day, so we gave them the key, you know, because the realtor was there. She went to the house to make sure that like those were the people that were there doing the flooring, so that there was no, you know, worrying about, they had to sign like a waiver and all of that, so that make sure, you know, no stealing and all of that. But it literally worked. They had all of that done within 3 days, and they closed on the house, and we moved out. Like, we had already been prepared, because I had already prepared and had packed the whole house. We just had a few more things to do, and then the cleaning and all of that. And there's more details to that, but this is getting to be a long video. But I just wanted you to understand how circumstances do not matter. I don't care that it looks absolutely impossible. It looks absolutely impossible for some things to be, but there is nothing that the universe cannot work. This is child's play to the universe. Do you not understand that? So whatever you are wanting, love, I want you to think about trying to use that technique. If you derive some benefit from this video, I would hope that you would consider subscribing to the channel, comment and like, because that increases the algorithm and pushes my content out. Well, I hope that you have a lovely day, and as always, I'm most affably yours. Until my next swim, cheers darlings, toodle pip.